It's 10 o'clock, and this is Fox 10 Talk. So now the news story this morning, some reporting from our friends at Fox Digital that there were apparently some suspicious online searches in the weeks before leading up to the abduction of Nancy Guthrie, and we want to try to learn as much about that as we can. Plus, what are the newest developments in Tucson? Every day it seems like there are several new angles, and we are going to be talking about that coming up. So thanks for joining us here. We've got this nationwide, really worldwide audience on YouTube. We love to read your comments. Good morning to everybody who's on there, from Christine to Willie's and Louise, and let's see who else is. Oh, there's Celeste saying good morning. She'll be joining here in about the next couple of minutes. I do want you to know that there is a huge national story that we're following too, which is the tariffs got the boot from the Supreme Court about 3 hours ago. So we are going to be talking to Josh Kolsrud, prominent attorney here in town, coming up at about 10:15. Does this mean the prices that went up are going to come back down on some of these items, or what is the status, and is there a backup plan at the White House? Our poll question, though, has to do a lot of talk now about these bills in the works that would add marijuana odor to the state's nuisance laws. 52% are saying, I'm all for it, can't stand the smell of pot smoke. 28% say, look, leave the pot smokers alone. Too bad if the smell bothers people. And then 20%, we don't need a new law, just wish smokers realized how bad it smells to others. Grab that QR code, let us know what you think. But right now, at a minute after, we're going to go straight to Tucson. Our Brian Webb is there this morning and can get us some of the latest information. Brian, I can tell you're in the neighborhood. What have you learned so far today?
Hey, Ron, we just pulled up, actually. What I've really learned so far is that it seems like a lot of the media might be about ready to pack up, at least the ones who live or live out of state. We talked to an LA crew, said they're wrapping it up today. There's just kind of the sense the tips are still coming in fast and furious, up to 20,000 plus now, but it seems like the activity and at least the messaging getting to the media has slowed down to a trickle over the past couple of days. So really, we're just out here hoping something breaks, but nothing really has broken in, several days now.
Brian, it does make you wonder, this reporting now that we're hearing from Fox Digital, that there had been may have been some online searches regarding Nancy's home address, regarding perhaps how much money Savannah made. I mean, that it seems like it could be a needle in a haystack, but then I guess law enforcement's been dealing with other needles in haystacks at the same time.
Yeah, 20,000 needles in that haystack that they've had to sift through. I did hear some grumblings about that, too, earlier in the week, a little bit about suspicious, perhaps, searches at critical times. I really don't know much more than that. I think they were Google searches. Correct me if I'm wrong. But, yeah, we've been getting basically daily updates from the sheriff's department here. And, for instance, yesterday I was down here and there was just really no major update. And so far today, it's the same tune.
Yeah, it's interesting. So here's a little additional info. The data came from a report from Fox Digital as they were kind of digging into Google Trends, but they reached out and a Google spokesperson told Fox that Google Trends chart showing a spike for an uncommon topic is certainly not definitive evidence that a search actually occurred, by one individual. But I guess it's just one more of those leads that law enforcement has to track down. Right now, Brian, just in terms of, the additional leads that might be out there, I guess DNA inside the home, because it was negative coming back on the glove in terms of CODIS. I guess maybe one of the things they're down to now is when that testing comes back, the familial DNA testing.
Right, that's been a big deal lately in all kinds of cases, right? And that might still lead to something here. Biological evidence found on the property after that black glove was a no-go. So that's one way that this still could go. But yeah, so 20,000 tips. The reward money, let me double check my notes, is 200,000. We reported earlier this week there was an anonymous donation of $100,000. So hopefully that will get more tips to come in. But of course, nationwide, worldwide attention has led to no real break in the case. We had a couple of people detained over the past couple of weeks. That led nowhere. And I'm sure, like you thought, Ron, I thought that once we had that security video on the front porch, like that was going to be our best hope. That's been how many weeks now? 2+ weeks. And still no break in the case. People have talked about doing a deep dive on that video, looking into his eyes, trying to figure out the facial structure and who that might be. But, you know, that's so far led nowhere. But again, to be fair, we don't know all that's going on behind the scenes. The authorities tell us what they want us to know and don't tell us the rest. And so often, like today, we're just kind of in the dark for now.
All right, Brian, thanks for your reporting today right from the neighborhood in the Catalina foothills. Celeste joins, and our special guest is former Sheriff Mark Lamb.
Yes.
Joining us in studio. Sheriff, as you have analyzed this case, have you made a determination yourself? Do you come down on a burglary gone wrong or a kidnapping?
Well, you know, originally I was dubious of the letters, the ransom letters. So the kidnapping, you know, felt a little weird. It's not a cartel. It doesn't follow that suit. The cartel doesn't typically kidnap American citizens. They kidnap fellow cartel people, rivals. And so those didn't fit real well. And then when we saw the video, it felt like somebody it just didn't feel that professional.
Yeah.
Yeah, the guy who's reaching for the leaves to cover the camera, all that.
Yeah, and you know, one of my questions is, and we were just talking about this in the back room, is you see the video when he's trying to cover up the camera when he first comes there, but then somewhere he takes the camera. So did he take it after he brought her out of the house? We see the blood on the front porch. Did something go wrong? And did he take the camera at that point? Because up until that point, he hadn't taken the camera. He was trying to use bushes to cover it up.
Right.
And so now you start to say, well, did something go wrong? And did they then have to remove whatever evidence they could? Which would also explain the non-proof of life and how quiet this case has gone.
You know, what are your thoughts on, there has been a lot of criticism on how the authorities have handled the investigation. Should they have opened it back up to the family or not initially before the FBI popped in? It was so much back and forth.
We're in a 24/7 day and age where everybody's monitoring this case. And so it's really easy to armchair quarterback it and say, look, they did this wrong or they did that wrong or they could have done this better. I've kind of refused to go down that road.
Good, yeah.
I think that when you show up, it is not illegal for an adult to go missing. So initially, you're going to treat this case as, hey, maybe she's at the casino, maybe she's not home. And then you see some evidence that might lead that there might be foul play. And you always want to hold the scene as long as you can. But I don't have all the details. So for me to question whether or not why they released the scene back to the mom, maybe there was, you know, some reasons for that, or to the family, I mean.
Yeah.
So I don't want to sit and question it because I don't have all the facts on it. But, you know, in hindsight, you can say, yeah, it would have been nice to keep that house much longer.
I just wonder if you can, as you go back in your memory banks, if you have any cases of missing persons that can sort of inform how you would proceed in a case like this, and just in terms of, you know, the amount of tips that come in on a case like this. How do you prioritize 20,000 tips?
It's a tremendous amount of tips, and we've had cases where we've gotten a lot of tips, not this many tips, but right when I became sheriff, and I talked about this case I do a true crime channel now at Lamb Investigations, but I talked about this case. I came into the office in 2017. A month later, at the end of January, we had a case where somebody found a vehicle with blood around it in the desert down at the south end of the county, and somebody was missing. And we started putting it together. We actually arrested a guy based on social media, his searches online. We looked at, he had actually created a fake profile and catfished this guy out. He worked as a corrections officer. We looked for the body for 4 days, and it was 4 days later that in the helicopter, unfortunately, and I'm not trying to, hopefully this isn't the case with this case, but we found his body charred and left in the desert. We did a DNA test, and it was indeed him. That guy now is sitting on life in prison without parole, and so it is that we've had these types of cases. Fortunately, it didn't go as long, and it didn't come out the way we wanted it to. We would have loved to have found him alive, but we didn't. And
you bring up an interesting point, though, when you said he did something on social media, and there's been a lot of chatter. Obviously, we live in a day and an age where technology is, at our fingertips, and they say that, in fact, could be the key to solving what's going on with Nancy Guthrie.
I think ultimately that will break the case. You'll find these search engines, but you've got to find what channel to go down, what path to go down. Maybe you get that one investigative lead, and then when you start to crack into the digital evidence at their homes, that's when this case will start to unfold. You got those people that were detained. Now, when you get those search warrants are going to be very limited because the judge has very little to work off of. So I imagine the scope was very limited on those houses where they detained those folks. And so maybe they didn't have the ability to take the digital evidence from the home. But digital evidence, I think, will ultimately be what cracks this case. And maybe the DNA.
Daphne, this is a great thing about this streaming show. People comment on YouTube, and she said they said the family was cleared. The video, and then later or at one point they said that everybody was still a suspect, but they have cleared the family. How does the process work when you start with the close circle, widen out, and start clearing people?
Well, over 90% of these cases are done by somebody who's very familiar with the family or even family members themselves. And I know it hurts feelings, but this is how you have to treat that case. And my guess is they zeroed in on the family members and did what they probably had to do. You're going to look at all of their social media. You're going to get dump their phones, see who they were chatting with, what IP towers, what cell towers they were bouncing off of, cell phone pings.
Interesting.
These are all things that you're going to look into. And I would imagine these are part of what they used to clear the family. I've heard that there was a polygraph maybe that was done to clear the family. You're never, ever truly cleared until you find who did it. And so what they've basically said is they don't have any evidence. This is how I viewed it and heard it as. You don't have enough evidence to continue to look at them as suspects, but that doesn't mean that something may not pop up down the road.
That's so true.
Can you stick with us for the break? By the way, a lot of people wonder if could somebody have come across the border? That's one of the issues we want to talk about. There's several more topics, and we are with former Pinal County Sheriff Mark Lamb. We got a quick break. Here's your mystery cam, everybody. Give us your guesses. Where do you think that is? Little construction on the main road, Syleste.
They're hard at work. Men at work in this city. We'll be right back.
And we are back with the Mystery Cam. Every morning at 10:15, we pop up any one of our hundreds and hundreds of cameras around the world. Celeste.
Oh, my goodness.
I see in this case,
Construction doesn't narrow it down, though.
What's that, Sheriff? What? Narrowing it down. That's what we're doing.
So what does that sign say on the far right-hand side? We've got a couple of guesses.
All right,
Louis
I'm gonna go
Gonzalez
look.
says Alabama. Linda Monter says Georgia. We've got a couple of good guesses in there right now this morning. So what does that sign say to the far right where they're actually doing the construction?
Like Brian.
Tastra.
Tastra.
And then there's a Brian in Corrigan or something.
Wow, maybe
Law
it's
firm?
a high-end jeweler. Oh.
Okay. Occupying all 3 floors, Celeste? I don't know.
I love where you immediately went with that.
Yeah, she did.
Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, we have a prominent attorney sitting 5 feet away
Look
from
at
us.
they
so
got
I'm thinking
watches.
lawyers.
They got watches. I'm in. I'm in there with you.
You and Ron with the Invicta.
Yeah, there you go. Christine is Wyoming. Brandon's Kentucky. Buddha Sheep is Ohio. This is great. We're all over the map. Jennifer,
Yeah.
South Carolina. Outlaws like Illinois.
I don't
Okay.
know. I think I'm gonna go with Wyoming and Christine Carroll.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Ohio. Mostly because they have 88 counties, and that means 88 county seats, and it could be any one of those.
All right, Sheriff. I mean, I know you're a former sheriff, but I'm going to call you Sheriff.
You can't guess Pinal County, by
I
the
was
way.
in a place recently. I was in Champaign, Illinois. And when I first saw the picture come up, it reminded me of that. So
Okay.
Wow.
There you go.
maybe Champaign,
Okay.
Illinois. I don't know.
Here's your
Okay,
answer.
Edwardsville, Illinois.
Look, I was close,
how
right?
about that?
Smart.
Good. We need to have celebrity guesses from now on
We
on our
should.
mystery camp.
Winner, chicken dinner.
Yeah, there it is. There's a look at it one more time.
It's amazing.
That video froze, but I'm sure there are guys actually out there working on that road on
Yeah.
Main Street. Oh, there it goes. Okay, so anyway, we just wanted to wrap up, Sheriff. There is this one other topic. In fact, it is the subject of our poll question. Let's pop it up right there. Bill in the works. It would add marijuana odor to the state's nuisance laws. As a longtime member of law enforcement, what's your analysis on making that a law and how, from a practical standpoint, it would be enforced?
I always look at things like, I don't want more laws. I think we already have a ton of laws. You know, maybe you could extend the disorderly conduct law that we already have on the books. But I was telling Josh, who's going to come on after me, it is really hard to determine this. It's like sound. When you have parties at night that go beyond 10:30 or whatever the
Yes.
sound is, you still have to read the decimals or to find out whether or not the sound actually exceeded the legal limit.
Yeah.
How do you judge this with marijuana, the smell of marijuana? Look, I'm not a huge fan. My kids were killed by somebody driving under the influence of drugs and alcohol, and it was actually marijuana that was on board his system. And so I'm not the biggest fan of it, but at the same time, I also understand that people voted it in. And I wish people would be more considerate that there are neighbors that don't like the smell. And the worse the weed, the worse the smell, you know? And so I just don't know how you're going to regulate and how you're going to charge that in a court and how that level of what the evidence looks like for that. So I just think it's going to be a tough lift. And yeah, I don't like more laws.
And an interesting perspective because you've been personally affected.
Yeah.
So, I'm sorry about that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, we sure appreciate your time and
We
your perspective
do.
on this Nancy Guthrie case. Maybe
I wish I knew where she was. That would be. But I'm glad to see that the amount was raised to $200,000. I think this will give, because if you have somebody that is potentially involved, and I think there are going to be some accomplices. These cases are really tough to do alone. I think this starts to loosen it up. Maybe somebody now is getting nervous, and then the amount of money. Maybe a family member decides to turn somebody in. So I think that going up will help as well.
You know, interesting perspective. You also have, I just want to mention this real quick, Lamb Investigations True Crime. You have your own channel on YouTube.
I have two. I have @RealAmericanSheriff. We do body cam review, and then I'm doing true crime with my wife.
Yeah,
my
I
wife
just
does the
saw
true
it.
crime. Yeah.
Your beautiful wife. Well,
There
thank
you
you for
go.
coming
Thank you.
in. It's
Excellent.
good to
Thank you
see
guys.
you.
Always good to see you.
Okay, Sheriff, thanks very much. So, we pop it up right there. Let's talk Supreme Court. The bombshell ruling came down about 3 hours ago, so we reached out to Josh Kolsrud to get his take. So, if a tariff law was either misused or misinterpreted at the White House, what happens next? I mean, we're in the first we want to get Josh's take, Celeste, on if he was surprised by the Supreme Court ruling. But then the next aspect is going to be, so where do we go from here?
Yeah, no kidding. Josh, welcome.
Thank you.
My friend, welcome back. Our legal eagle, we like to call him.
Right.
What are your thoughts on this?
Well, I'm not surprised by the ruling only because of how the justices were asking questions during oral arguments. But I'll tell you what it means. It means that the Trump administration can no longer levy tariffs on other countries using the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, or the IEEPA. That's what he was using as his authority to levy these taxes. Now, the Supreme Court didn't say that the reasons behind the Trump administration doing this were wrong. They didn't say that this wasn't an emergency, that the fentanyl crisis wasn't an emergency. They were just saying that Congress has the sole authority to levy taxes, and they finally declared a tariff to be a tax. So that's what they were talking about. Now, your question about what happens now.
Yes.
Well, all of the people that were importers, and only the importers can ask for refunds. And they're going to have to do that through Customs and Border Protection by filing a protest, is what it's called. And it starts the administrative process to do that. Now, it's not trillions of dollars that have been collected. It's about $130 billion that have been collected. It sounds like a lot, but
it does sound like a lot. Billion with a B, Ron.
Pull out that calculator, Celeste.
But in terms of affecting the overall world economy, it really is just a drop in the bucket.
Okay.
So I think that, for the Trump administration, I don't really think this is a loss. I think that they're looking at this look, our president's fighting. Yeah, he was wrong on this issue, but, he campaigned on doing this. He campaigned on levying taxes, and he did it. So it's a promise kept. And it's not his fault, according to his people, that, the Supreme Court ruled against him.
So they put the ball in the court of Congress, and of course we know they can hardly agree on anything, so who knows where that would go. But haven't there been, in our nation's history, haven't there been presidents in the past that have instituted tariffs?
Oh, yes, there have. And the question, though, is breadth. How large were the tariffs, and where do they derive their authority? So the Supreme Court didn't throw out all of the tariffs, only the tariffs that have to do with the IEEPA. So a lot of the tariffs that Trump levied against steel and aluminum and even China are still being held into effect.
Okay, even though we just got word about an hour ago, the president has set a visit to China next month.
Yes.
So who knows how that will play out. Is there a workaround?
Yes,
I had heard that the White House already had a backup plan when this day eventually came.
Yep. Yeah, and they do. This is not the end of the tariff issue. The Trump administration plans on pursuing very similar tariffs that will be the people that are asking for refunds now. You're going to have to hold check your pocketbook, because the Trump administration is going to use other acts to try and do the same exact thing. Now, it's going to be more difficult because the other acts that are in place have a much narrower definition of when a tariff can take place. But, by all accounts, this is not the end of the story.
Okay.
Interesting.
Can we get your opinion on this? There's a movement in the legislature to make pot smoking the odor that is left behind. Some would even maybe say the stench of the what you smell, to make it, add it to the nuisance laws. So we just had the sheriff here. Is it a nuisance if somebody's playing loud music, banging your eardrums out, and they're right next door and it's midnight? Is it a nuisance if you can smell a smell that really bugs you?
Well, think of secondhand smoke when you're someone smoking cigarettes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I have two takes on this. The first is this, that the law as it's enacted or going to be enacted, it presumes the nuisance, meaning that it presumes the harm. It's saying that you're guilty and you're going to have to prove that it's not a nuisance. So if there's excessive smell, and excessive odor is not defined, you have to prove that it's not harmful, as opposed to the prosecutor proving that it's harmful. So they shift the burden to the person making the smell. And the opponents, the people against the law are saying, well, why don't you do this for cigarette smoke or bonfires or any other type of odor? Why are you focusing only on the marijuana smoke? Now, the conservative side is saying, well, we have a choice not to smoke marijuana, and we should have a choice not to have to smell it either. We don't want our kids smelling those odors and all the psychedelic effects of the smoke. But what this is really about, and this is kind of a different take, is this isn't really about marijuana. It's about voter-approved initiatives. And the Arizona State Legislature not having the power to amend the initiative. So they're going on a workaround to really pull out all the teeth. So, the voters enacted, marijuana as legal to smoke in most instances. But this is just a workaround to penalize and criminalize smoking marijuana. And it's a test case because if this can happen to marijuana and that voter initiative, it can happen to any voter initiative because now they won't have to actually file an amendment to change the law. They can just they can just enact, new workarounds, new legislation to work against it, like this, this odor law that they want to enact.
Oh, interesting.
It reminds me of what's happening in Washington State right now. The voters for 100 years or almost have voted down income taxes every single time. They don't have a state income tax. So the legislature is trying to pass one now and immediately get it into the court system. Thinking they have a friendly state Supreme Court who will simply allow it to go into effect.
Yes, and that's similar to what would happen here.
Yes.
Yeah. So if they enact this law, it would go before the Superior Court or Supreme Court eventually, and if it passes muster, then it's essentially criminalizing smoking marijuana because the odor itself now becomes a criminal offense. Yeah. And again, they don't even define what strong odor is.
I guess unless vapes don't create smoke.
Yeah, if you smoke good marijuana that doesn't have a lot of, then you're fine. It's only the skunky cheap weed where you're going to get hammered on.
There's all these workarounds like you mentioned on both sides.
Yeah, if you use a vape pen or some type of,
Well, all right.
No smoke.
So, Josh, there are almost 30% of the folks who are saying leave pot smokers alone. Too bad if the smell bugs you. Here's a chance for you to let us know what your feeling is about this. Grab that QR code. 54% say, look, I'm all for it. I can't stand the smell of pot. 18% saying we do not need another new law, but I just wish smokers realized how bad it smells to other people. Celeste, what are you seeing on YouTube?
This is very much a different story here when we look at it on YouTube. Okay. So the last one, we don't need a law, just wish smokers realized how bad it smells. That one coming in first at 41%, 33% with them all for it, and 26% with people leave pot smokers alone.
All right, give us your votes. Dave with your reaction next. All right. Well, we've had 2 great segments already today.
Oh,
the
my
former
goodness.
sheriff, Mark Lamb, and then Josh Kolsrud.
I think the only way we can top this is by talking about the crazy weather we've had across Arizona and the West. It's been nuts.
I totally agree. Now, if only we had somebody like, I'm just saying possibly like a Nicole.
I was thinking the same thing. I mean, who can top it other than Nicole Krasean?
And we just happened to catch her at the Pick and Save parking lot. What? Where are you?
Good
Nicole?
morning.
What's going on?
I love this.
Well, we are on our way back, and we got to gas up so we can make it back to Phoenix.
Oh, nice. Okay, love it.
So we've stopped. I'll turn the camera around though, so you can kind of get a better idea of where we're at. You can see the 17 there.
Ooh.
So,
you're down by Munns Park. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow.
So, and it's just so beautiful out. I mean, I know we don't have the best view from the parking lot, but like look at the trees, and it's just so gorgeous. I just love it up here.
Are you in one of those
This
Waymo
time of
news
year.
cars? Because I don't see a photojournalist.
Oh no. He's getting gas. Mario's getting gas.
Oh, okay.
He's probably taking his time. We've been together since yesterday. We got up to Flagstaff, so he's probably taking his sweet time, waiting to get back in the car with me.
Oh, are you saying he needs a break?
Maybe.
I mean, I would say no.
Yeah, I think so. But here's some video that we got earlier when we were driving down. That's Route 66, of course, down in the heart of Flagstaff. And gosh, it was such a beautiful morning. When I talked to you guys at 6, it wasn't so great. The sun hadn't come up yet. It was really windy, really just frigid. But as the sun has come out and started to warm things up, started to melt things a little bit, it has just turned into a beautiful day. We do know that there have been some accidents reported. We want people to be safe and go slow. But I have to tell you, 17 heading south so far. We've only been on the road for about 10, 15 minutes. But of course, this is where you would see the worst of it. And it's clear. It's really, really clear. So shout out to the street and, the departments that have worked hard on making sure that things are plowed and just keeping everybody safe during this winter weather.
How does this, Nicole, you're from, is it the Midwest? I know you went to, So how does this winter in Flagstaff compare to where you're from?
It's very similar. So it's funny because Mario, the photojournalist that's with me, is from Texas, and he went to school. He's been in Phoenix now for a long time, but he's a West Coast boy. So he was talking to me this morning, and he was saying, "Man, we got this in Dallas a little bit when he was working in Dallas, but he's from El Paso, and he spent a lot of his time in Phoenix." And I'm sitting here like, "Oh no, this is winter."
I am back in Bloomington, Indiana. That's what Nicole's saying.
Yes. And I grew up in South Bend, Indiana, about an hour east of Lake Michigan. So we would get lake effect snow and everything. So, I mean, this is what I'm used to, and it's beautiful. And it's just a great time to really, get a little bit of a break for people from the desert. Of course, it's beautiful down in the desert too, but look, I mean, it's just so beautiful up here. It's just a great view with the beautiful trees. You feel like Christmas is just continuing, and you can just enjoy the little winter wonderland. We were saying today that it reminds us of like a Hallmark movie. You've got
I love that. Yes.
Everybody's in a good mood, they're used to this. They live in Flagstaff. They know the drill. They just have to get their shovels out, ice the sidewalks in front of their shops and restaurants. But everybody's cheery and just, really enjoy seeing us make the trip up to highlight, the Flagstaff area and the high country as well, which we very much enjoy. I mean, again, I know it's not the best view ever, but once you get on the road, it's just gorgeous heading south on 17.
All right, Nicole, we're going to let you go. Thank you. Best of luck driving home. There's a snow plow.
Bye, Nicole.
And here is Nicole. There's the proof of everybody in a good mood. This was Nicole just a little while ago.
Oh, it is a good coat. I'll tell you what. I was talking to Corey about it last night. This came all the way from the Midwest with me, and it comes in handy anytime I come up here to Flagstaff. It is still below freezing, I think, up here, and you can tell. You can see my breath. You can tell that it is a cold start to the morning. The wind is still present, but it is so beautiful. I mean, look at this. It is a winter wonderland. I just love Flagstaff all year round, but really in the snow, it really gets to show off. And we have seen some traffic out here. Earlier, we did see some people spin out a little bit, so we want to remind people as you head out the door today, make sure that you're being safe. Don't go too fast. Don't tailgate anybody. And here we go. Here's one of these plow workers. We've seen so many snow plows out today between the city and other private companies, and they are just putting in that work to make sure that people can head out and enjoy their Friday. We're going to take you down this road right here, and we're actually the first ones to walk along it. You can see over here with this courtyard, there is more workers. So people hard at work to make sure when you head out, you will have a safe trip, but we just want people to know that it is potentially kind of slick out there in some spots. So just take it easy when you do head out there. But it's beautiful up here, guys. And the temperature will rise a little bit. I think it's supposed to be sunny this weekend, too, if I'm correct. So in for some beautiful winter weather.
Oh, that is just so great.
Oh, so wonderful.
Yeah.
Isn't that beautiful up there?
Hey, by the way, fans of Dave on the Dave Cam have been patiently waiting for his first appearance of the entire morning.
Actually,
36 minutes in.
Ron, there's been tears. I'm just saying. Hey.
Yeah, so tons of comments on this poll question today. Remember, you can comment and vote on fox10phoenix.com/poll, as well as on our YouTube page. Brian Lane in Santan Valley says if they do this for pot smoke, then it should include tobacco smoke. Tobacco smoke, in my opinion, is much more offensive than pot smoke, and the reason smokers don't think so is because they stink themselves. Tony Rodriguez says if that's the road we're going on, let's add the same law about people that stink like body odor or nasty diesel and exhaust fumes, and people that bathe in perfume or cologne. Roxanne Charbonneau says it's not just a nuisance, it's healthy. It's a health and safety risk. You can get high from secondhand pot smoke, and pot is a drug with interactions that is not safe for everyone. And finally, Zims 2.0 says one of the best aromas in the world is the smell of marijuana. If I have to live in a world that tolerates onions, coffee, and tofu, you yuppies can deal with a little pot. So really interesting comments. Keep it coming, guys.
Oh, people are on fire today.
I thought tofu was odorless. Do you like tofu, Big D?
Yeah, Big D. Yes.
No, I'm not a huge fan, no.
Neither am I. That's one more thing we have in common. Hey, here's Shannon Bream from earlier this morning. Are we getting closer to possible war with Iran? Shannon Bream, the host of Fox News Sunday. Hi, Shannon.
Good to see you, Ron.
So the first meeting of President Trump's Board of Peace was held yesterday, but at the same time, the greatest show of American military might in years is headed into the Middle East. I want to get to what might unfold in Gaza with you in a minute, but how real is the threat of an attack on Iran? And as opposed to missiles like last time, could it involve troops?
Well, we are told that all options are on the table, and the latest analysis from inside the White House is the president is considering an initial, very precision-type strike, not this all-out war that people are worried about. And there are regional partners there who worry that's what will happen. This will spark something that's a broader regional conflict. But the White House has a lot of tools. You know, we've done sanctions, we're doing these indirect talks, and the president makes it sound like the ball's in their court. You know, they got 10 to 15 days to kind of figure out what they're going to do. But the president has plenty of options, and they are strong military options. And based on what happened to the nuclear program last year when the president warned them, I think the Iranians know he means it.
I am confused, though, a little bit about these countries that are basically allies of ours in the Middle East. They don't want war, but a lot of them, I think, would like to see regime change in Iran.
Which is so delicate, because even if you took out the Ayatollah, if you took out the mullahs, what comes next? Who's waiting in the wings? That's always the problem. It's the situation we've got in Venezuela right now. I mean, where do you go long term? How in Iran would you ever have, in the immediate future, the aftermath of toppling the regime, fair and free and transparent elections? I mean, there are just such big questions there that I think people in the region, some of them, know the devil they're dealing with Iran. They've, made a very uneasy peace with what they're working with. And yes, while they'd like to see regime change, I think there are great fears about what is the plan for the next day.
Now, when it comes to the Board of Peace, why are some of our usual allies not participating in it? And is there some thinking that Trump's idea to totally rebuild Gaza into his vision of a more beautiful part of the Middle East, that it could actually happen?
Well, Well, that could certainly be it. And I think that there are worries that those who are not joining worry that this is in some way meant to supplant the UN or NATO or other big international organizations that they're fully bought into and have confidence in. Now, the president talks about the United Nations. This is not to replace them. He says they could work in conjunction. But he says the UN's not living up to its potential. It's got some good people and good ideas, but it's failing on a number of fronts. He says this is going to be a companion to that. But I think, places like France and Germany and other big countries and allies and friends of ours have real concerns and questions about exactly what this Board of Peace is going to be up to.
Real quick, we're seeing the shockwaves of the arrest of the man formerly known as Prince Andrew and the prospect of possible life in prison. Do you sense that it's having an impact in Washington? You've got names like Bill Clinton to President Donald Trump. Has the heat been ratcheted up on either man this week?
Yeah, I think people are feeling nervous here stateside because there are so many names in these files. Now, DOJ says we've given you everything that we have. And in this letter that the Attorney General put out with that release last week, she named all kinds of names. She said the Trumps, the Obamas, the Clintons, members of Congress, but also celebrities like Beyonce and George Clooney. They may show up somewhere in these files. Not that there is an accusation of criminal wrongdoing, but maybe they were at a party with him. Maybe they were in a press release that, had their name in it. So there are a lot of people here who, if they know they've done something that was against the law, I'm sure they're sweating it.
Okay, and just a reminder, you can catch Shannon's show. That's Fox News Sunday. Man, her panel, she has great guests, but her panel every week, Syleste, they just have a lot of really interesting perspective on the major news stories of the day.
Yes.
Okay, so we just got a heads up from the White House. Our understanding is that this will be the president who will be speaking. At first it looked like, okay, maybe it'll be a, Caroline Leavitt kind of a news conference thing. We think the president's going to come out and speak about the tariffs.
Well, we think he's going to share his thoughts on the Supreme Court ruling on what took place, with the tariffs. And so you just saw moments ago a couple of people there kind of adjusting some of the, microphones and getting ready, the press getting into place. We've been watching this ongoing here for about 15 minutes. So we think it could be at any moment. And we will, of course, as soon as he approaches the podium, we will take that live for you right here on Fox 10 Talks.
Okay, so that's coming your way. We have another, I think I remember this one. I think it's somewhere in like Rhode Island.
I think you're right. Oh, Ron, look at the seagulls.
Man, they cued them. All right, boys, time to be on TV.
Let's go.
Fox 10 is ready for you. Quick break. We'll be right back. Hey, everybody, welcome back. So Syleste and I are looking at your comments and kind of cracking up. What are you seeing, Syleste?
So we're talking about odors, Ron,
we
that
are?
should be illegal.
Oh, good. What do you
right?
got?
It's jumping off our poll question
Okay,
this morning.
yeah.
Strong perfume. Body odor.
And then William Kribbe says, how about strong cologne?
Yeah, there
Both
you
the
go.
men and the ladies.
Cigarette smoke, diesel fumes.
Yeah.
Any of those. But, we're jumping off the fact that, of course, the state legislature is looking at the marijuana odor.
Well, I do remember as a kid, my sister was like a champion tennis player, and it was at an indoor tennis court, and whoever she was playing against, that young lady's like dad or uncle or something was smoking constantly, like right in my face. So I get up to him and I say, "Here, let me help you with your ashtray." He's like, "Oh, thank you." And I was going to go like dump it in a trash can,
right,
like 100 feet away, and then I forgot to bring it back. I come back 2 minutes later and he's smoking in a tennis. He's using a tennis can for his ashtray. The guy couldn't give it up.
How old were you?
Like 9.
Look at you. That was ballsy, taking and walking to the trash can.
Anyway, so, all right, odors are one of the topics.
Yes.
Right.
Buddha Sheep says, love this show. Buddha Sheep, we're happy you're here. And
hey,
we love
RLS
you.
Vince is on today, too. Good to see him.
And thank you for all the likes. 30 likes thus far. 20 is our goal at the end of the 2 hours.
Yeah. 25. Oh, the new goal, according to Dave, is what?
25?
25 likes. We can do it.
Every show.
We've been getting it every day.
Good. Okay. Well, anyway, Buddha Sheep is also excited because we have Mrs. Arizona on, and he said, "I love this show." So thank you, buddy. Yeah, we do have Mrs. Arizona joining us this morning.
We do. Jenna Ghisolfo, right? Jenna, lean on in for me, sister. Perfect. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're so happy to have you here.
I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, you have a really important platform and something that you have survived.
Correct. So as your United States of America's Mrs. Arizona, I have the opportunity to represent domestic violence victims across the United States, not just here in Arizona. And I get to do that actually on a daily basis, which is amazing. For a living, I actually help domestic violence victims and homeless individuals get off the streets and into safe, stable housing. So sometimes that's Section 8, it could be shelters, just depends on what we're looking at.
Is that a part of like a nonprofit, or is that your company?
It's my company, yes, but we partner with nonprofits across the nation to get individuals off the streets and into safe, stable housing.
You must have some amazing success stories. If you want to share one or two without the names, go for it.
I do. I've got one impactful story that everybody loves to hear. So I was actually teaching a class to domestic violence victims on how to apply for Section 8 housing. And one of the women started crying in the class. And so I stopped the class and asked what was wrong. And she goes, "I don't have an email address." And I looked and I said, "Does anybody else not have an email address?" And 3 other hands went up. And I was like, "Oh my gosh, let's create you some email addresses immediately." And the pride on these women's faces all of a sudden to have an email address was just so amazing and so touching. So that was more rewarding than teaching the class itself.
Well, it's the little things that we take for granted, the access that we have with technology, or being able to have a roof over our heads or anything like that.
The little things we take advantage of.
Yeah.
And what are you able to share with these victims that comes out of your own personal experience that they can connect with and what you learned through it?
I can remind them that no matter what situation you're in, how traumatic and desperate you seem, there is always hope. There's a community behind you. Sometimes you just have to tap into those resources to really be able to step up and get yourself out of that situation. And there are so many resources here in Arizona.
You're going to represent Arizona at Nationals in Las Vegas.
I am at the end of March. I'm so excited. All the gowns, the glitz, the glam, all of it.
Yeah. What does the pageant entail? Can you give us kind of the categories that you will compete in?
Yes. So we get several categories that we're critiqued on. Anything from our internet and our social media campaigns to impact in the communities, as well as then evening gown, swimsuit, and interviews. So
there is a swimsuit.
Oh yes, I gotta rock the swimsuit.
Vegas loves odds. You got to be one of the odds-on favorites. I mean, you're so well-spoken, but you also have such a great personal story that can help other people maybe learn and grow.
I hope so. I truly hope so. That's what I aspire to do, is make an impact. And the motto of the pageant, the United States of America's pageant, is empower, uplift, and inspire. And it couldn't be more apropos to what I do.
You know, I was a judge years ago for Miss Teen USA.
I love it.
When it was based here, and I went in through the interview process with a lot of the young ladies. And I remember, and I probably shared this with Ron years ago, but I was so impressed by all of the wonderful young ladies and everything that you have accomplished, both teenagers in the Mrs. category and the Miss. And I was thinking, my goodness, like the time and the effort. Some of you have created 1, 2, 3 nonprofits, and you grew up here in the Valley.
Yes,
in Phoenix.
Arizona native.
What kind of led you in this direction? What was your what kind of empowered you to do this?
Yeah, so really it all spurred from me opening my own business and wanting to make a greater impact, and then all of a sudden saying, why not take my empowerment one step further? If I can make a greater impact in the communities, have a bigger voice, a bigger reach, not only in Arizona, but across the nation, who wouldn't want that opportunity?
Yeah.
That's so great. Okay, so is the pageant going to be streamed, or how can we watch you?
It absolutely is. It's going to be live streamed on the United States of America's pageant website. So I'll be sure to post it on all my social media platforms so you can all tune in.
That's amazing. I love your crown.
Isn't it beautiful? They give us some great
absolutely.
Yeah. Let's adjust her. We're going to lift each other up, Ron.
Are you? Is that what's happening over there?
Each other up.
I'll be sure to bring one for you next time.
Okay, it's USOA. And then MRS,
correct.
Arizona.
That's
Mrs.
it.
Arizona.
Yes.
Celeste and I both followed you.
I love
and you're going to pick up more from our loyal viewers now.
Thank you so much. I appreciate
Jenna,
it.
great to meet you.
Thank you.
Good
You
luck.
too. Thank you.
Yes,
I appreciate
we're rooting for you.
I appreciate it.
Okay, so at 10:51, we want to remind you that we are just hours away from play ball. Celeste, can you believe it? It seems like it was just the other day we were saying, all right, here come the pitchers and the catchers, then the position players, and starting today at 1 o'clock, these games begin.
I remember, Ron, years ago when I first started going to the spring training games. Oh my goodness, it was like spring is here. It's one of my favorite seasons in Arizona. What you're looking at right here is also the Indians Festival. Of course, when you have spring training here, you also have the Indians Festival. It's 2 weekends taking part at Tempe Beach Park. These are so much fun, and you have all kinds of different bands. Mumford & Sons, I believe, is going to open tonight. You have Blink 182 on Sunday. And a number of different bands coming out tomorrow as well. So here's the thing. Just take the light rail down there, because where the light rail lets you off of Mill Avenue, you're like 10 feet from Tempe Beach Park.
By the way, Chris Kasdorf is saying, I've been watching you guys ever since you started. Love you. P.S. I am a native from Phoenix too.
Oh my goodness!
How about that? That's so great, you guys. We love all of the chat on the friendliest chat online. Now, Celeste, I was just going to mention. Here come the games for today: D-backs and Rockies at Salt River Fields, Padres and Mariners at Peoria Sports Complex, Royals and Rangers at Surprise Stadium, and White Sox and Cubs. How about the All-Chicago Showdown at Sloan Park? All of those games are at 1 o'clock this afternoon.
And guess what the temp's going to be? I've been covering weather. Yeah, it's going to be in the 60s across the valley. Well, we will have some light winds all around, but for the most part, it's going to be really, really nice. So we're talking perfect baseball weather.
I love it,
yes.
Celeste. Okay. By the way, every once in a while, the flamingos at the Phoenix Zoo. It's one of the top zoos in America.
Absolutely. It's so cool.
It's so cool. They have to go see the doctor every once in a while, just like we all need to get our health checkups.
Like we go for our well visit, Ron.
Correct, we do. And here, by the way, then, is a little bit more about what happened when they finally got a chance to go see the doc. Listen to this. I don't hear a thing.
Hold on. Maybe they're coming up here in a second. So apparently one of them is 50 years old.
I could not believe it when I heard that. So it's like a grandpa or a great-great-grandpa. Look, they got to check the knees.
Oh, yeah.
The knee bone is connected to the thigh bone.
We can't have osteoporosis in the flamingo leg.
No, we can't.
That's all they got to stand on.
If you're 50 in bird years, you got to be like 100.
Wow.
In human years.
Look at this one walking around.
Uh-huh.
Oh, like a teenager. Probably taking its vitamin D3.
That guy right there did not like the doctor checkup, by the way. Anyway, they did said they have 40 flamingos that call the Phoenix Zoo home. And this was their annual checkup, and everybody passed, apparently, with flying colors.
So Little Philosophy says, go D-backs.
Yeah.
When we're talking about spring training. And William Cribby says, any team still train in Florida? You know,
for sure.
Didn't we have the Yankees?
Weren't
the Yankees coming out here for a little? They were going to come out here for a quick stint before heading back out to.
For spring training.
Yeah,
okay.
Come have a game.
I'm
or
for
two.
that. But yeah, pretty much all the East Coast teams.
Yeah, they go to
Florida, and then all from Chicago this way.
Yeah, it's a lot of teams.
Yeah, they do for sure. All right, Celeste, we have just enough time to talk about. Apparently, this is going to be the new thing in the soda world.
Oh, I love this. Is a great idea, actually.
I would prefer if they just made one move and get the aspartame out.
Okay, but
however,
they're adding
Robert F. Kennedy has been in office for a year. He apparently forgot that they have that. Anyway, get me off my soapbox, Celeste.
Okay,
I just want to mention that. So Dr. Pepper announced that they're going to roll out 35 different flavors this year.
Yeah, Dr. Pepper, baby.
Okay, yeah, sing it for sure. But anyway, so here's the whole story about this, and it's interesting because some of what they're going to offer is creamy coconut Dr. Pepper.
Okay, this is a jump off of the dirty sodas. So like Swig here in the Valley, they're very, very popular.
Okay.
Have you ever been there, Ron?
Yes.
Okay.
Only once.
Okay.
My wife Renee goes every so often, and so she took me once.
Okay, so I'm like your wife.
Yes.
I like to go like every so often.
Okay.
My go-to is the Diet Dr. Pepper with peach vanilla and some coconut cream.
Ooh.
And so it's called like a Southern Gentleman, I think is what it's called.
Okay.
But you have all of these dirty soda shops that are kind of doing the mix-ins. So I think this is their way of jumping on the bandwagon.
Brilliant. I never even thought of that, but they might as well.
Yeah,
right?
Because, and I wonder if it tastes similar. But I tell you, the first time I had one of those dirty sodas.
Oh, really?
I was cleaning my house like a mad woman. It was like the sugar, the caffeine, and everything else. I was like, let's go to town.
Oh, my gosh.
So, yeah,
that's great.
They're kind of making a few changes. But Dr. Pepper is hot with the kids, too. So I think they're hoping to, change things up a little bit.
And look at some of the other things they're offering there. They're going to have root beer float flavor in a can of root beer. It's going to taste like a float, but no ice cream.
Yeah.
And then they're even going to have Snapple's 250th Tea Party drink as well.
There we
It's going to be the greatest year ever for drinking your sodas.
It is. Thank you all for joining us for this first hour of FTT. Have a great weekend, everyone. See you on Monday.
Happy Friday, TGIF. Big story that we have been following since yesterday out of Las Vegas. Passenger attempting to fly on JetBlue was unable to get her dog on as a service dog and literally just abandons the dog at the airport.
Yeah, so look, this is the security footage from Las Vegas International Airport. You see the lady with the dog. She goes there. She doesn't have the correct paperwork, and instead of rectifying the situation or maybe rebooking herself for a different flight, she ties up the dog and leaves. She walks off. So the gate agent there obviously calls police. They're like, what are we supposed to do? The woman was arrested. She is now facing some charges, but the dog has aptly... Oh, we got some breaking news coming off my phone. I apologize. I need to turn that off. But
that's what it's all about. The dog's okay. And the dog is now in a foster situation with one of the rescues. Ty reached out to the rescue yesterday. Thank you so much, because we're all animal lovers here. And we wanted to talk a little bit about this situation and see how the pup's doing. The pup was named JetBlue.
Yeah, aptly named because it was at the JetBlue ticket office. So guess who we have here this morning? Ben Jenkins.
Oh, and JetBlue. Hi. Oh, my gosh. How is Jet doing? Hi, JetBlue. Hi, puppy. Hi, baby.
He's doing great. He's not phased at all by anything that's been going on. He's just a really good, happy boy.
Oh, my gosh.
So he's about 2 years old. What breed is he? And tell us a little. I mean, he does seem very, very mellow. Maybe he's just tired from all the treats. I don't know.
Right. We think he's about 2 years old, a golden doodle. We're not quite 100% sure.
Oh, gosh.
He's doing great with other dogs, really loves people. He loves people. And just a very, very happy boy. Sometimes we, get dogs that are very scared and that kind of thing. But he just shook it right off and is just loving life.
Hey, Ben, which rescue are you guys with?
With Retriever Rescue of Las Vegas.
Okay, great. I used to work out there many years ago in the Vegas area. So you guys do great work. Yeah, thank you.
So, Ben, how did you guys, your rescue, kind of eventually get a hold of JetBlue?
So we have some previous adopters who work for Metro PD at the airport. So they made us aware of the situation originally. And we instantly reached out to the Animal Foundation, which is our local dog shelter, letting them know that we'd like to pull him and bring him into our rescue.
Amazing. I recall a similar story a couple of years ago. So this isn't necessarily the first time we've seen something like this. Airlines, and I know you can't necessarily speak for the airlines, but let's talk about the situation of surrendering the dog. This isn't the way to do it.
No, this is not the way to do it. They could have reached out to a rescue, could have gone to the shelter. You don't just tie up your dog to a baggage sizer and walk away.
Yeah. I was watching the news last night and flipping channels. JetBlue is everywhere. National news, local news. I mean, what does it feel like to be? Yeah, I was going to say, what is it like to be in the midst of a big celebrity, Ben?
So it's somewhat a little overwhelming. We've received, almost maybe 2,000 or so applications, literally from all over the world. Norway, the Virgin Islands, maybe 10 or 15 different states in the United States. He's a very popular dog. And we hope it brings awareness to rescue in general. There is only one JetBlue, but there are so many other dogs. We have at least 40 in our rescue that are looking for homes. So we're hoping that maybe that will shine some light on the other pups as well.
So when you do adoptions, can people from all over the nation adopt from you guys? You don't have to be in the Las Vegas metro area, because we have viewers, here in Arizona, but maybe close to the border, or perhaps people from everywhere are watching.
It's very much dog dependent. As long as we know the dog would be good, flying out to another state. We do generally do California, Nevada, Arizona, Washington, Oregon. This whole little western region, and then even Texas. We've had adopters as far as Texas as well.
What was kind of your reaction when you heard about this story? Obviously, it has really captured the nation's attention and their hearts, because it just seems kind of so heartless for JetBlue's previous owner just to leave him there. What was kind of your reaction when you saw the news?
It made me mad because, as you mentioned, there are proper ways to do this, and it wasn't the proper way. And then the fact that animal control tried to reach out to her to tell her, what she needed to do to get him back, and she, hung up on them, really shows that, she wasn't the owner he really deserved.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Well,
He's in a much
everything
better
happens
place.
for a reason. That's what I was going to say. Maybe he's in a much better place right now. You guys know, I know you have so many dogs, and we have so many great shelters to donate to. But if people wanted to make a donation towards JetBlue or any of the other animals, and then also the other question is, are you going to have like a raffle? That's what some of the shelters here do when we have a very high-profile pup.
No, we don't do a raffle or anything like that. We really try to find that applicant who checks all the boxes on the list of the needs that the dog has, if that makes sense.
Sure.
So we are actually going through every application. We are reaching out, via email or text to everybody just to see what's going on. But yeah, we've actually found the perfect application for him was somebody who had previously applied and was waiting for their perfect match. And they're actually part of the Las Vegas Metro PD who was there at the airport. To help rescue them.
Oh, that's
great.
fantastic.
Wonderful. He's definitely showing off now.
Yeah, he is. He is the cute.
Oh,
Hold
bye,
on,
puppy.
we gotta take this full speed. Look how cute he is.
He's
oh my
adorable. Hi,
gosh.
Jet. Hi, puppy.
He's a good boy.
You gonna get a cookie? Are you a good boy? Are you a good boy? Are you want cookies? You want cookie?
Yeah. Oh, he loves his treats. Yeah.
I bet.
Same,
one of our
JetBlue.
reporters has a
Golden doodle.
Is it a golden doodle?
I think so.
Yeah, and her name is Lucy. And I don't know. I mean, if you guys decide that you have to maybe talk to and interview some other people, I'm going to send her your way because they'd be a cute little couple.
Perfect.
Nope. She's a little bit older, but
Well, Ben, thank you so much for taking the time, and thank you for all that you do for all the pets out there. And we are so glad that JetBlue is safe and sound and in a loving temporary home, and we can't wait to see his new loving home that he goes to.
Yeah, we'll have to share that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, we're going to take you out live right now. We are waiting live this morning for a press briefing from President Donald Trump. If you've been watching the news this morning, you probably saw the breaking news that the Supreme Court has basically said that the tariffs that he put in place didn't go about the right way and that he shouldn't have done that. So we are waiting for his response. It should be happening any minute now. And of course, when that does happen, we of course will break in.
Yeah, they're also going to be talking about the very latest conflict in Iran and what will be happening there as far as the peace talks and anything else that may develop. So we will continue to keep you guys posted. In the meantime,
let's talk about the forecast.
Okay.
It is absolutely gorgeous out there on this Friday morning. As you can see, plenty of blue sky as we look over the valley this morning. And we had that live report from Nicole Krasean. She was up in Flagstaff all morning long. And man, they got 3 back-to-back storms, about 8 inches in that last storm. So just incredible to see how much snow, definitely needed up in the high country.
I was outside for a live shot earlier, and it's chilly outside. It's chilly and breezy, but man, it's nice. It feels like February. It's a nice change because next week, 93 degrees is what we're looking at next week. So there's a lot going on. I'm really glad that JetBlue is safe.
Yeah.
And that we were able to chat with him. That was a really good idea. I think that, if you're flying with a pet and you have any questions or concerns, always check ahead with your airline. And they put all that information in on the website. Other big story that we have been following, famous actor James Van Der Beek passes away very young age from colorectal cancer.
So we wanted to kind of get more information about the signs, the warning signs for colorectal cancer. So we have Dr. Rishi Agarwal here with us this morning. Dr. Agarwal, what hospital are you with again? Just make sure we get that out there.
So I primarily work at the Honor Health Hospital at 92nd and Shea, and I am associated with the group Arizona Center of Cancer Care.
Well, what is colorectal cancer?
So, colorectal cancer is one of the common cancers. About 160,000 people get diagnosed with colon cancer every year.
Wow.
It's basically, uncontrolled growth of colon cells, which eventually become cancerous. Colon cancer is one of the cancers which is preventable and if diagnosed in early stage, it can be cured. The national guidelines currently recommend starting colon cancer screening at age 45. There are multiple tests available to get colon cancer screening: colonoscopies, sigmoidoscopies. There's stool-based gene test. There's now also blood tests.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So you don't have to go through that whole colonoscopy, or is that still recommended?
So the gold standard is still colonoscopy. That is the best test to get colon cancer. If you have, even for average risk patients, colonoscopy is still the best test to get colon cancer screening. But for some reason, if somebody doesn't want to do that, or they don't have a way to do that, or they have inhibitions of whatever reason, there are other options. Colonoscopy is still the best, but there are other options that you can choose from. Worst thing is to not do anything. Right. So some of these options are better than not doing anything. And then, if you get a test result which is questionable, or then you do colonoscopy as a second step. So you can do that. Colonoscopy is still the preferred method.
Let's talk about, is there a reason why we're starting to see more and more of these cases in younger individuals? I mean, we talked about James Van Der Beek. There was also that actor,
Boseman.
Chadwick Boseman. He died in his early 40s as well. Is there any reason that you can pinpoint as why we're starting to see these cases in younger individuals?
I would say not only colon cancer, unfortunately, we are seeing younger patients with cancer across the board. Colon cancer may be one of the most higher incidence in younger patients, because cancer is a mix of genetic and environmental conditions, environmental risk factors. And colon is very exposed to our environment, mostly what we eat, right? So anything that we eat, the colon is getting affected directly. So, the risk factors why younger generation is getting more cancer is related to diet, nutrition, lifestyle, poor sleep. All of those factors are contributing to increased risk of cancer, and particularly colon cancer.
Doctor, we are waiting for a press conference. We're going to keep talking until we see it, but we just wanted to let you know that we're keeping our eye on that. In the meantime, I know that they've lowered the age, and then also signs and symptoms. What if you're 35 and you have these signs and symptoms? Do you go get a colonoscopy?
And what are those signs and symptoms?
So, colon cancer, first of all, you need to know your risk factor. If you have a family history, any risk factor, then your risk of colon cancer goes up significantly. In those cases, you don't want to be waiting for the signs. By the time a sign happens, and not only colon cancer, any cancer, by the time you have a symptom, it's usually already at least locally advanced. Asymptomatic cancer is where you want to find your cancer, when you don't have signs. I get a lot of patients and they'll say that, hey, I'm feeling well. I have been feeling well. How can this happen? Unfortunately, cancer is tricky, It'll keep growing until you get the signs, and by the time you get signs, it's already a bit advanced. But noting the signs is very, very important.
And those are?
Change in bowel habits, constipation, diarrhea, blood in your stools, stomach pain. One thing that, a lot of times we don't see the signs, but we see in the blood work is anemia. If you have iron deficiency, especially in males, because iron deficiency in females is because of monthly periods, is quite common. But if you don't have abnormal periods, but you're still getting iron deficiency, you might want to get it checked. But in males, if you're getting iron deficiency, that is a very high risk, suggestive of you're bleeding from somewhere.
Very interesting.
So definitely need to keep an eye on your blood test. And signs of iron deficiency is fatigue, lack of energy. Some people will have ice chip craving or some other weird cravings.
Oh, yes, I've heard that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you need to keep an eye for those symptoms.
And really quickly, treatments. What is the survival rate of colon cancer, or does it just simply depend on what how far it's spread?
So survival rates depends on how far it's spread. But colon cancer, if diagnosed in early stage, is curable. Like if you diagnose, most of the patients who get diagnosed in screening usually have colon cancer at an early stage, either a stage 1, maybe a stage 2. Those patients are cured in 65-75% of the times. And, in stage 4 disease, unfortunately, cure rate is extremely low. But we have had patients who have high risk, or some would say a good case situation where they have certain type of genes or proteins which make them highly responsive to treatment. And we have seen, even in stage 4 patients, we have seen complete remissions where the cancer goes into remission. There are patients who have stage 4 disease, but they have what we call oligometastatic disease. Where the cancer has only spread to either a liver, 1 or 2 spots in the liver, and those patients can, although they are stage 4, they can still be treated with curative intent, and you can potentially cure them.
Wow, amazing. So, thank you so much. Great information.
We appreciate your time here.
Thank you so much for having me here.
We'll have to keep you on speed dial because you're a wealth of knowledge. We appreciate it. Thank you.
We'll be happy to help anytime. Thank you.
Let's talk. Go ahead.
We're just kind of, we're going to jump back out and just kind of show you we are still holding steady and waiting for that press conference. We did get a 2-minute warning, but that was about 2 minutes ago. So again, we're still waiting for that press conference.
So we can tap dance, or we can go to our next guest.
No, we are. We're going to go to our next guest.
Let's go to our next guest. We wanted to talk about the big news that came out of the UK. Prince Andrew taken into custody, and then within 12 hours was released, and these were charges related to Jeffrey Epstein. Kinsey Schofield joining us. You are a royal watcher and expert of all things royal. Good morning to you.
Yes, we share a boss. I work for Rupert Murdoch. I am his royal reporter. Yeah.
Oh goodness. So talk a little bit about what all this means.
I mean, I think that this case is interesting to people because it's not related to the initial accusations from Virginia Giuffre, who's unfortunately passed away, who accused Andrew of, sexual inappropriate behavior, sleeping with Andrew multiple times, she claimed. This is in response to Andrew having a position as a government envoy between the years, I believe, of 2001 and 2011, and sharing details, government information, secret government documents with Jeffrey Epstein over email. And that actually being what the government officials were able to pounce on him for, this tangible evidence we saw throughout the DOJ drops involving Andrew sharing secrets about the government that inevitably benefited Andrew financially over email. And it's unrelated to some of the sexual harassment and sexual assault claims, although there are 9 different government entities that are currently investigating Andrew for some of those claims at this time. So could there be another arrest? Potentially, but likely this is the best way for the government to actually get him, because we have seen those emails ourselves. There's clear evidence, according to these documents, that Andrew shared information that he shouldn't have with Jeffrey Epstein.
Kinsey, I was watching the BBC. I was watching Sky News yesterday just because, but the amount of attention that this got over in the UK is just wild. And I was listening to a podcast that were saying it was 12 pages of the newspapers in the UK today before you even got to other news. It was all about this. Can you just kind of talk about the scope, the magnitude of this, especially in the UK, because this has really kind of rocked the royal world?
I think that it's especially surprising for us because we're not seeing these kind of repercussions here in the United States. And it's the same, we're all looking at the same dump, millions of pages. And we're wondering, why are we not being as aggressive potentially with some of our leadership? Peter Mandelson, who was the United States ambassador to the UK, had to resign over this. He's also accused of sharing sensitive information with Jeffrey Epstein, to the point where we're kind of on arrest watch for Peter Mandelson as well over in the UK. But I felt a simmering because I work every day in the UK. And over the last 2 weeks, every day I've been asked, does Charles have to abdicate? Does Charles have to step aside for Prince William? And I did feel this real anger and resentment building over the last few weeks from the public. We're even seeing polling coming out insisting the public wants Andrew removed from the line of succession, which feels like a no-brainer, although technically it would be difficult and it would involve the government. But yeah, I think that it does feel like the UK is taking some of these accusations so much more seriously than we are. And while everybody here is obsessed with the Nancy Guthrie case or whatever else is distracting us, it doesn't feel like some of our leadership is being held accountable for this association, because at the end of the day, a lot of this is guilt by association. This is a convicted sex offender. How was he able to access all of these powerful people?
That's an excellent point that you made, because a lot of people were saying exactly that yesterday, is that why are we seeing an arrest in the UK in connection to Jeffrey Epstein, but we're really not seeing anything happening here in the United States when we had more people within the United States.
We need to go real quick. Can you just stay on the line? We're going to dump in real quick and talk about the president making a comment right now, and then we'll be right back with you. So just hold tight.
Is deeply disappointing, and I'm ashamed of certain members of the court, absolutely ashamed, for not having the courage to do what's right for our country. I'd like to thank and congratulate Justices Thomas, Alito, and Kavanaugh for their strength and wisdom and love of our country, which is right now very proud of those justices. When you read the dissenting opinions, there's no way that anyone can argue against them. There's no way. Foreign countries that have been ripping us off for years are ecstatic. They're so happy. And they're dancing in the streets, but they won't be dancing for long. That I can assure you. The Democrats on the court are thrilled, but they will automatically vote no. They're an automatic no, just like in Congress. They're an automatic no. They're against anything that makes America strong, healthy, and great again. They also are a, frankly, disgrace to our nation, those justices. They're an automatic no matter how good a case you have. It's a no. But you can't knock their loyalty. It's one thing you can do with some of our people. Others think they're being politically correct, which has happened before far too often with certain members of this court, and it's happened so often with this court. What a shame. Having to do with voting in particular, when in fact they're just being fools and lapdogs for the rhinos and the radical left Democrats, and not that this should have anything at all to do with it. They're very unpatriotic and disloyal to our Constitution. It's my opinion that the court has been swayed by foreign interests and a political movement that is far smaller than people would ever think. It's a small movement. I won by millions of votes. We won in a landslide. With all the cheating that went on, there was a lot of it, but we still won in a landslide. Too big to rig. But these people are obnoxious, ignorant, and loud. They're very loud. And I think certain justices are afraid of that. They don't want to do the right thing. They're afraid of it. This was an important case to me, more as a symbol of economic national security. And also, I would say, just for our country itself, so important, because we're doing so well as a country. We've never done so well. The good news is that there are methods, practices, statutes, and authorities, as recognized by the entire court in this terrible decision, and also as recognized by Congress, which they refer to, that are even stronger than the IEEPA tariffs available to me as President of the United States. And in actuality, I was very modest in my ask of other countries and businesses because I wanted to do, and it's very important, I wanted to be very well behaved because I wanted to do anything, I didn't want to do anything that would affect the decision of the court, because I understand the court. I understand how they're very easily swayed. I want to be a good boy. I have very effectively utilized tariffs over the past year to make America great again. Our stock market has just recently broken 50,000 on the Dow, and simultaneously, and even more amazingly, broken 7,000 on the S&P, two numbers that everybody thought upon our landslide election victory could not be attained. Think of that. Nobody thought it was possible to do it within 4 years, and we did it in 1 year. They said you'll never be able, you'll go back and you read the geniuses, read their statements, all of the Nobel Prize winners in economics. They said, no, you couldn't do it in 4 years. Well, we didn't do it in 4 years. We did it in 1 year. We broke every record in the book, and we're continuing to do so. Tariffs have likewise been used to end 5 of the 8 wars that I settled. I settled 8 wars, whether you like it or not, including India, Pakistan, big ones, nuclear, could have been nuclear. Prime Minister of Pakistan said yesterday at the great meeting that we had, the Peace Board, he said yesterday that President Trump could have saved 35 million lives by getting us to stop fighting. They were getting ready to do some bad things. But they've given us great national security, these tariffs have. And together with our strong borders, reduced fentanyl coming into our country by 30%. When I use them as a penalty against countries illegally sending this poison into our country to poison our youth. All of those tariffs remain. They all remain. I don't know if you know that or not. They all remain. We're still getting them, and we will after the decision. I guess there's nobody left to appeal to. But again, those 3 people, such respect. I've had a lot of respect for them anyway, but such great respect. But other alternatives will now be used to replace the ones that the court incorrectly rejected. We have alternatives. Great alternatives. Could be more money. We'll take in more money, and we'll be a lot stronger for it. We're taking in hundreds of billions of dollars. We'll continue to do so. To show you how ridiculous the opinion is, however, the court said that I'm not allowed to charge even $1. I can't charge $1. Can't charge $1. I would have used 1 penny, but we don't make the pennies anymore. We save money. Can't charge $1 to any country under IEPA. Not $1. I assume to protect other countries. This must have been done to protect those other countries, certainly not the United States of America, which they should be interested in protecting. That's what they're supposed to be protecting. But I am allowed to cut off any and all trade or business with that same country. In other words, I can destroy the trade. I can destroy the country. I'm even allowed to impose a foreign country-destroying embargo. I can embargo. I can do anything I want, but I can't charge $1. Because that's not what it says. And that's not the way it even reads. I can do anything I want to do to them, but I can't charge any money. So I'm allowed to destroy the country, but I can't charge them a little fee. I could give them a little 2-cent fee, but I cannot charge under any circumstances. I cannot charge them anything. Think of that. How ridiculous is that? I'm allowed to embargo them. I'm allowed to tell them you can't do business in the United States anymore. We want you out of here. But if I want to charge them $10, I can't do that. It's incorrect. Their decision's incorrect. But it doesn't matter because we have very powerful alternatives that have been approved by this decision. You know, they've been approved by the decision for those that thought they had us. And they're saying that I have the absolute right to license, but not the right to charge a license fee. So think of that. I have the right to license, which is a very powerful word. In many ways, license is more powerful than tariffs. In fact, I was thinking about using it. But they came up with the idea that I can license, just like the people that were opposing me told them to do, but not the right to charge a license fee. Think of that. Who ever heard of such a thing? What license has ever been issued without the right to charge a fee? You get a license, you charge a fee. It's automatic, but not with this court. But now the court has given me the unquestioned right to ban all sorts of things from coming into our country, to destroy foreign countries. but a much more powerful right than many people ever thought we even had, but not the right to charge a fee. How crazy is that? Our country is the hottest country anywhere in the world right now. And it was a dead country 1.5 years ago under an incompetent president. But now I'm going to go in a different direction, probably the direction that I should have gone the first time, but I read the language. I'm very good at reading language, and it read our way 100%, but now I'll go the way I could have gone originally, which is even stronger than our original choice. As Justice Kavanaugh, whose stock has gone so well, you have to see, I'm so proud of him, wrote in his dissent, although I firmly disagree with the court's holding today, the decision might not substantially constrain a president's ability to order tariffs going forward. So, think of that. The decision might not substantially constrain. And it doesn't. He's right. In fact, I can charge much more than I was charging. So I'm going to just start. Although I firmly disagree with the court's holding today, the decision might not substantially constrain a president's ability to order tariffs going forward. That's because numerous other federal statutes, which is so true, authorize the president to impose tariffs and might justify most, if not all, of the tariffs issued in this case. Even more tariffs, actually. Those statutes include, think of that, those statutes include, for example, the Trade Expansion Act of 1962, Section 232. All of these things I know so well. The Trade Act of 1974, Sections 122, 201, 301. And the Tariff Act of 1930, Section 338, all clear. But it's a little bit longer process. I thought I'd make things simple, but they didn't let us do that. I would like to thank Justice Kavanaugh for frankly, his genius and his great ability. Very proud of that appointment. In actuality, while I am sure that they did not mean to do so, the Supreme Court's decision today made a president's ability to both regulate trade and impose tariffs more powerful and more crystal clear rather than less. I don't think they meant that. I'm sure they didn't. It's terrible. And to think that the Democrats who oppose this only because they want to go the opposite way. They'd like to pack the court. They want to put on 21 people. They want to pack the court, pack the Supreme Court. Maybe they should do it. Maybe they would be better off if they did it. They want to pack the court. They want to do anything to hurt our country. There will no longer be any doubt, and the income coming in and the protection of our companies and country will actually increase because of this decision. I don't think the court meant that, but it's the way it is. Based on long-standing law and hundreds of victories, and even, as I was pointed out before, even thousands of victories over the years, to the contrary, the Supreme Court did not overrule tariffs. They merely overruled a particular use of IEEPA tariffs. And essentially, it's used to get a fee. I can do anything I want with IEEPA, anything. I just can't charge anybody for it. I can license, I just can't charge them. It's ridiculous, but it's okay because we have other ways, numerous other ways. The ability to block, embargo, restrict, license, or impose any other condition on a foreign country's ability to conduct trade with the United States under IEEPA has been fully confirmed by this decision. So now there's no doubt, because, you know, there were a lot of questions about tariffs because no president was smart enough to use them to protect our country from those countries and businesses that were ripping us off. You took a look at the deficits that we had with some of these countries. It was disgraceful what they got away with for many, many decades. But now we know, because this decision affirms all those things that some people weren't sure about. In order to protect, and it says so, in order to protect our country, a president can actually charge more tariffs than I was charging in the past period of a year under the various tariff authorities. So we can use other of the statutes, other of the tariff authorities, which have also been confirmed and are fully allowed. Therefore, effective immediately, all national security tariffs under Section 232 and existing Section 301 tariffs, they're existing, they're there, remain in place, fully in place, and in full force and effect. Today, I will sign an order to impose a 10% global tariff under Section 122 over and above our normal tariffs already being charged. And we're also initiating several Section 301 and other investigations to protect our country from unfair trading practices of other countries and companies. Thank you for your attention to this matter, and I say quite simply, which I've said for a long time, make America great again. And interestingly, we've already made it great, so I don't have to use that, but I don't think we'll ever give up on MAGA. MAGA is always going to be with us. If you have a few questions, you can let us know. But just to end, so we're going forward, we will be able to take in more money, and there'll no longer be doubt, because there was always doubt. I know the people that brought the lawsuit, and they're sleazebags, major sleazebags, but I know them, and they're foreign country centric. They were sending things into our country, and the people representing them knew full well, but they were sending things into our country, and they were beneficial to other countries, but very, very bad for us. And I stopped it, and we'll just keep it going. So we have a totally firm decision now, and I don't think the court meant it, because the court doesn't show great spirit toward our country, in my opinion. A lot of bad decisions, but there are usually ways around it. This is something we could have done, as Justice Kavanaugh said, we could have done this originally, but we're doing it now, and the numbers could be far greater than the hundreds of billions we've already taken in. Yeah, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I'm very curious.
Thank
you so much, Mr. President. Justice Thomas and Alito, as you know, are the most conservative constitutional justices. Do you think that you'll get to appoint 2 more justices later this term with similar ideologies? And what type of vetting process will they go through to ensure they uphold?
I don't know, but they're great justices. That's all I can say. And I hope they're going to be around a long time. I hope they're going to stay healthy. They're great people. They're great. And Justice Alito, too, to add to the group. These are great men.
Right.
They're with a great love of our country and a great understanding of the law.
Mr. President, are you going to ask Congress to take additional action on tariffs now?
No, I don't need to. It's already been approved. I mean, I would ask Congress and probably get it. When people look at the real numbers, and you look at hundreds of billions of dollars that have come into our country. Yesterday, I was at a steel plant, as you know, and I went to great place, great plant, great, wonderful people. And they were telling me, I said to them, you were there, a lot of the press in this room. Of course, I don't think this plane's big enough to take the press in this room, but a lot of the press right here. We were in Georgia. And I said to the owner, I made a speech at a factory. They make steel products. And I said, how are you? Nice to meet you. How's business? President, I'd love to kiss you. This is a very powerful man. I don't want to be kissed by that man. But a very powerful, strong man. He's been in the steel business for many years. His father started it. And he said, sir, I want to kiss you. I said, why? He said, because we were down to working 1 hour a week. And then you came in and imposed tariffs. And all of that foreign junk that they were dropping into our country stopped. And we're now going to double shifts, 7 days a week, and we may be very soon going to 24 hours around the clock, almost 7 days a week. He said, sir, I want to kiss you so badly. And I said, no, thank you. But you know what? He just to finalize it, he said, oh, this is a great place in Georgia. He said, all up and down the highway. Same exact answer, sir. We're all going out of business. We're going to go bankrupt. We're all going out of business. And now every one of us are thriving, and we're hiring people. like we haven't, he said, like I've never, and he's been in business for, I think, 45 years, like we've never hired before. That's because of tariffs, and we're going to keep it going the same way. And you're going to start to see the results in a year from now when all those factories start that are under construction right now. You see all the construction numbers are so good. Those construction workers are building factories that are going to be open, including not only AI, which is big, but car plants coming in from Canada, who ripped us off for 30% of our market. Mexico ripped us off for a big portion. Over the years, they've taken our market. They've taken our cars. They manufacture them in Japan, Germany, and all over the place. Taken our cars. They manufacture them in Japan, Germany, and all over the place. Taken our cars. They manufacture them in Japan, Germany, and all over the place. Taken our cars. They manufacture them in Japan, Germany, and
Okay, so we are continuing to monitor. We have color bars from the Fox Technology Center. I don't even know why that's happening to us, but yeah, technical difficulties for a minute here. Some pretty big headlines, and the president obviously not happy in the least with these, with at least some of the judges on the Supreme Court, the way that 6-3 ruling came down.
Yeah, not happy at all. I mean, we saw when he stepped to the podium there, the first thing he said, he was disgusted that some of the justices that voted against this was a 6-3 vote. He referred to as being a disgrace. Okay. Do we have him back?
We do.
Here? Okay, we're going to go back to the president.
Great patriot said yesterday, sir, what you've done, nobody thought was possible. And Steve Moore, a highly respected economist, came into my office yesterday. He said, you've done something nobody's ever done. 22 Nobel Prize winners in economics said we would right now be in a recession. And you said, no, we're going to have a booming country. We're going to have a booming country. You were right. All 22 were wrong, and you were right. This country is booming, and it's booming because of the election on November 5th, and it's booming for another reason. It's booming because of tariffs. Yeah, please, go ahead.
Mr. President. What will you say ahead of this decision that if the Supreme Court
please,
rules?
go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President. What will you say to foreign nations who seek to renegotiate their deals? And what did you mean a moment ago when you said that the Supreme Court has been swayed by foreign interests?
Well, I think that foreign interests are represented by people that I believe have undue influence. They have a lot of influence over the Supreme Court, whether it's through fear or respect or friendships, I don't know. But I know some of the people that were involved on the other side, and I don't like them. I think they're real slime balls. And got to do what's right for the country. You got to do what's right for the Constitution. Not only dissented, their dissent is so strong. When you read their dissent, a lot of times you'll read a dissent and it's like, well, you don't know, it could go either way. There's no other way. The good news is, it's like Justice Kavanaugh said, very strongly said, you have other ways you can go. You don't have to go that way. You can go other way. There are numerous other ways you can go. And frankly, this should have been done by presidents many years ago. They allowed our country to be eaten alive. We lost 50% of our car business. We used to make cars. We made all the cars. And then Mexico came, Canada came, and Japan and Germany. But they're all coming back now. They're all coming back at record levels. No, please.
Do you regret pointing
I'm not talking to you. I don't talk to CNN. It's fake news. Go ahead.
Mr. President, yesterday you made the case that the economy is the hottest it's been in a long time. Right. January jobs report beat expectations. CPI report beat expectation. Real wages are up. What would you tell Americans who are worried that this decision will kind of throw the economy that you have projected going in the right direction at a very rapid pace off track?
Well, thank you for the question. And I will say this. We really are at a very important point. I've been waiting for this decision so long. They could have made this decision a long time ago. Not complex. They're wrong on it. It's a ridiculous decision. But they should have released this a long time ago. We waited months. And that gave uncertainty. Now we have certainty. And I think you're going to see the country get much stronger because of it. Look, we were ripped off by almost every country in the world, if you look at the surpluses, almost every country in the world that did business with us, our people were stupid. And I blame presidents for it because they're ultimately the leader. We were being ripped off by almost every single country in the world had some massive surpluses. China had hundreds of billions of dollars in surpluses with the United States. They rebuilt China. They rebuilt the army. We built China's army by allowing that to happen. I have a great relationship with President Xi, but he respects our country now. Now, what we've done, I charged China a 20% tariff as a penalty for sending fentanyl in. And that was 20 times more than they could make by selling fentanyl. And I said, at some point you're going to say, and they have reduced it. Fentanyl is down by more than 30% coming into our country. Part of that is our strong border. We have a strong border now. But thank you. Thank you for your question.
Mr. President, sir, you warned once in a social media post that if the Supreme Court did this, shot down your tariffs, the U.S. would be, quote, financially defenseless. Are we financially defenseless right now? No,
because we're doing something in a different way. We're doing something in a very powerful way, and we're using things that some people thought we should have used in the first place. But it's more complicated. It's a little more complicated. The process takes a little more time, but the end result is going to get us more money. And I think it's going to be great. Yeah, please. Peter, go ahead.
Thank you, President Trump. So, since Liberation Day, there's about $175 billion in tariff revenue that is now in limbo. Do you have to refund $175 billion?
Think of it, Peter. Very fair question. They take months and months to write an opinion, and they don't even discuss that point. We've taken in hundreds of billions of dollars, not millions, hundreds of billions of dollars. And so I said, well, what happens to all the money that we took in? It wasn't discussed. Wouldn't you think they would have put one sentence in there saying that keep the money or don't keep the money, right? I guess it has to get litigated for the next 2 years. So they write this terrible, defective decision, totally defective. It's almost like not written by smart people. And what they do, they don't even talk about that. Your question is very basic. That was the first question I asked also to make you feel good. They said, what about all the money that we've taken in? Sir, they don't discuss that. How crazy is that?
What you're saying is, are you saying that you don't plan to honor refunds for companies that file for them?
I just told you the answer, right? I told you the answer. It's not discussed. We'll end up being in court for the next 5 years. Go ahead, Green.
Thank you, Mr. President. When you are talking about the relationship with countries that you have sought trade deals with, do you anticipate that they will seek to renegotiate those? What do you say to them? And do you view this as a potential undermining power for your negotiations? We're
going straight ahead with 10% straight across the board, which was the absolute right to do. And that's taking place. That's a lot of money coming into our country. And then during that period of about 5 months, we are doing the various investigations necessary to put fair tariffs or tariffs, period, on other countries. So we're doing that period, but we're immediately instituting the 10% provision, which we're allowed to do. And in the end, I think we'll take in more money than we've taken in before.
Mr. President, you've used the tariff revenue to pay for a host of federal policies. You've claimed that they will pay for them. What happens to
like the farmers? We took care of farmers. The farmers were mistreated by foreign countries very badly, very, very badly. And last week I gave them $12 billion out of tariff money. We intend to, out of tariff money, because just so you understand, we have tariffs. We just have them in a different way. And now they've been confirmed by the Supreme Court of the United States. So there's no longer that question out there about tariffs. And we'll be taking in hundreds of billions of dollars. And countries that have treated us badly will have to pay a price for treating us badly. And countries that have been good to us will be treated very well. We just left the top person in a place called Vietnam, just left my office. Great gentleman, strong and smart. He said, I think this means you're allowed to charge us more tariffs than before. And Canada said to Jameson, I might want to say it, Jameson, but Canada said, I hope you win this decision, because if you don't win, you'll actually be allowed to charge us with a little additional work, higher tariffs. Jameson, you want to comment on that?
Yes, sir. So to the President's point, we have a lot of tools out there. We have Section 122, which will be implemented today. It will be signed today and implemented very shortly. We have Section 301 investigations, which are incredibly legally durable, where we can investigate and address unfair trading practices that have led to our huge trade deficit. And so you can look forward in the coming days and weeks to seeing all of that come out, and we're going to keep continuity in the program. We're going to keep addressing this so that the deficit can keep going down. That's the trend it has, and we can make America great again.
No.
Several of Republicans in Congress have supported this decision by the Supreme Court, and Hakeem Jeffries, the Democratic leader, has called you a wannabe king. Why wouldn't
him a low IQ?
But why wouldn't
he? Doesn't even know. And I watched him the other day interview. The guy doesn't even know what a tariff is.
But there's been bipartisan criticism.
No, not bipartisan.
Of the tariff.
Excuse me.
There's several Republicans have said that.
Yeah.
But why wouldn't you just work with Congress to come up with a plan?
I don't have to
push tariffs.
I have the right to do tariffs, and I've always had the right to do tariffs, and it's all been approved by Congress. So there's no reason to do it. All we're doing is we're going through a little bit more complicated process. Not complicated very much, but a little more complicated than what we had. We'll be able to take in tariffs, more tariffs, and the Congress people and the Congress.
The Canadian tariffs last week. There's been votes in the Senate against it.
Yeah, because we lost 2 Republicans or 3 Republicans because they're not good Republicans. What you don't say, you don't say that we got 215 votes.
You need 218 for something to pass.
Yeah, sure we do. We might have lost 3 votes, and what was the score on the Republican side? 215 to 3, right? But you don't say that. We have great unity. There's great unity in the Republican Party, and I hope everyone's going to vote Republican, because otherwise you won't have a country left, because these people have been destroying. They are destroying our country. Please.
Mr. President, the 122 tariffs, that 10%, is that going to be for 150 days, or do you want to charge that indefinitely?
We have a right to do pretty much what we want to do, but we're going to charge it starting effectively, I think it's 3 days from now. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, you speak to a lot of factory workers, a lot of manufacturing workers. What does the Supreme Court ruling say? What's that message to those factory workers?
Well, I think the factory workers are happy because we're now telling them that they're going to look. The man I met with yesterday who owned a factory was out of business. He was out of business. And now he's employing 5 times. In fact, I walked in. He's got a brand new crane. I said, how old is that crane? We got it in December. He's allowed to write it off in 1 minute. The Great Big Beautiful Act gave no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime. He said this great, big, beautiful bill, frankly, has been the best thing that's ever happened for the workers much more so than for rich people. The only thing it does for rich people, it allows them to hire a lot more people. But when I saw him, and then he said it's all up and down the line. This is a place in Georgia, all up and down, other factories doing different, not only steel products, different. He said every one of us was out of business. We could barely make it. Some of them were down to less than an hour a week. Think of it, 1 hour a week to make just a few little trinkets or whatever they make. Now they're going round the clock. I had it a month ago. I went to Michigan, went to Ford, and I met with Bill Ford, the head of Ford. And we were in one of the biggest plants, an original plant from the early 1900s, where, by the way, I might add this, it's not really relevant, but it's all relevant. Murders are down the lowest since 1900, around the time that he had this plant. That's 125 years. We have the lowest murder rate. Okay. And our crime is way down in the country. The factories that we're talking about, the people that we're talking about, they are so thrilled with Trump. So whether we charge IEEPA tariffs or whether we charge tariffs under a different section, that's what we're going to be doing. There's no way we can this is what happened to our country. This is why we owe $38 trillion, which we'll get rid of in pretty good course. We have a very incompetent Fed chairman who likes high interest rates. For political reasons, he likes them. But we're going to have somebody very good. Interest rates should come down very substantially. I think we should pay the lowest interest rates on the planet. There should be no country, and we don't do that. We're number 38. This is just bad policy for a long period of time. But what's happened is we've made America strong again. We've made America great again. We should pay. As an example, the country of Switzerland, we were getting almost no tariffs from them. We had a $40 billion deficit. And the prime minister called me up. She said, but we are a small country, because I said we're going to raise it to 39% from nothing. That would have rendered them not very successful, as opposed to right now they're considered elite. But if we put a tariff, they would. And I realized then, she said, but sir, we are a small country. I said, you're a small country with a big deficit. For us, you're making a lot of money off the United States. If we do that, or a lot of these elite countries, they're elite because we let them make so much money. And I want them to do well. But I don't want them to do well on the backs of the American taxpayer. So I appreciate your question. I think it's reasonable.
President Trump, you said that you were disappointed with that, but were you surprised with this decision? What you felt when you...
I was surprised because I thought that what we did was, number one, according to, I read the paragraphs, I read very well, great comprehension. I read everything there is to read, and I said, we can't lose this case. But we can when judges are political, when they want to be politically correct, when they're catering to a group of people in D.C. Maybe. I don't know what it is, because when you read it, there's no other interpretation. There is no other interpretation. But it's okay, because what has come out, and I'll say it for the third time and maybe the last time in a while, is that we've taken the uncertainty of tariffs out, because we had uncertainty. We got sued by sleazebags, I know them well, that are very outside country, China-centric, but outside country-centric. And they're going to end up not doing as well as they did before. America was becoming really, really, we're strong again. Hey, we have the strongest military. I rebuilt the military in the first term. We have the most powerful military. We make the best equipment. And even them, we could do much better. We have people that get paid a lot of money to manufacture Patriot missiles and javelins and all the different things. But when you want them, they're too slow. And we put them on notice, and they're going to make. Our country is building a lot of things right now, and our country is doing really well, and we're going to keep it that way. The bottom line is that the word certainty is now in the equation. Every single thing I said today is guaranteed certainty. It's been tested, as Jameson said 1,000 times. Literally, I said hundreds of times. He said, sir, actually thousands of times, and won in all of the courts. And we're just going back to that. And the problem is that we had other presidents that weren't into trade. Maybe they weren't business oriented. Maybe